on both his quarterback and this new offense that changes 95% of the way things were previously done?
I think he's done a really nice job adapting to, some of the different things that we're doing. And, some of the different, there's different concepts. There's similar concepts. But in those similar concepts, sometimes we're asking them to read it differently than we have in the past. So I think he's done a really nice job of handling the things that are similar. I think he's done a very nice job handling things that are similar, but his job's changed a little bit, and done a really nice job of, really grinding away to be a master at the offense and all the things that come with it.
And again, at some level, he's got to wonder, why do I have to do this? I think that's really at the core of this. We have to make dramatic changes. You could have some players who say why. Some say yes. Some might say why. Why do we have to make dramatic changes in our offense? That wasn't the problem. That wasn't why we fell apart down the stretch. And again, unless we know all the details on why things fell apart for the Eagles, it's impossible to know how much buy-in there will or won't be of a brand new offense. And I don't want to overinterpret, but I also don't want to underinterpret what I saw from Jalen Hurts. I did not see a guy who is outwardly enthused about the changes that the offense is going through. Now, I would be very excited about the presence of Saquon Barkley. That's for damn sure. And maybe at some level, Jalen Hurts believes he's being minimized. And, look, we understand the business of football. I'd like to think Jalen Hurts gets it. There's a point I made when things were falling apart for the Eagles, and we started to spin forward what happens with this team after the season. And I looked at Jalen Hurts' contract very carefully. He could have been traded easily to a new team without a significant cap consequence. The Eagles have structured that contract to make it easy to hit the escape hatch if they decide they want to, or if he decides he wants out. And again, they're not going to bare their soul with what they thought about. But, folks, the one thing I'm trying to impress on people is teams are always thinking about potential upgrades at every position, potential changes at every position. There are very few sacred cows currently in the NFL. You can count them on one hand. And you may not need all your fingers to do it. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and now that Justin Jefferson has his contract him. Before that, and again, I don't want to get all the Vikings fans riled up on a Friday morning, but I don't think he was completely and totally untouchable until he signed that new contract. So there aren't a lot of guys that get that preference. And I think that all bets are off if the Eagles fail this year. And you could see many dramatic changes next year, on field and off field, if they don't make this happen. So, excitement would be preferred, but I can understand why somebody like Jalen Hurts would be a little guarded, because it's, a combination of, well, why are we doing all this? And what are we going to do if, we don't go farther than the wild card round in 2024?
Wow. I haven't had experience like this in a while, quite honestly, where I've just heard 3.5 minutes of just straight up nonsense. Like, what is he talking about right here? Seriously. In what way? Okay, I don't even know where to begin, because that was just such a load of nonsense. Let's start with the whole minimized. Does Jalen Hurts feel minimized? And he wants to now try to read Jalen's mind. Jalen Hurts has one of the smallest egos with regards to that. Jalen Hurts does not need to be the center of the attention 24/7. He is a master class in when they don't do well, he takes responsibilities, and when they do well, he cheers everyone else. He celebrates everyone else. He is not the person that needs all the glory and everything. I mean, he is such a quiet, reserved person in that regard. Such a small ego, perfect at the mic. So this idea that he now feels minimized or even challenged or even questions, why do I have to do this? Like, what are you talking about? Jalen Hurts always wants to learn and grow. I mean, he famously was benched at the title game and was still cheering on and was still like an amazing team player. So this idea that he feels minimized or he feels threatened or he feels insulted because they kicked out a terrible OC and a terrible play caller and now brought in someone more established who goes, okay, let's do some things. And you think Jalen Hurts doesn't believe that he still has to learn and grow and mature as a quarterback? Are you out of your mind? Hurts is so humble, has filled with humility. So this idea that he just thinks that I already know what I'm doing, I don't need to learn anymore, any of these changes are nonsense, that's insane to me. No one in their right mind would ever think that of Jalen Hurts. No one. Not a single soul. They're excited. There's another video out surfacing where a bunch of the Eagles players have pretty much said like the coordinators were the problem. Like this was disastrous for the most part of what we had last season. Obviously, it wasn't said that overtly. So believe me, because then he goes, the offense has to buy in on this. They want to buy in on it. Like, what are you talking about? They want to be better. The Eagles want to be better. The Eagles have the expectations of getting to NFC Championship games, getting to Super Bowls, winning Super Bowls. That is what it is. The Eagles are not the Carolina Panthers, the Cleveland Browns. They're not those teams that they're just like, oh, gee golly, we're happy just to make it to the playoffs. They're not the Buccaneers who are praising that they won a playoff game. Congratulations. The Eagles have high expectations, and they know that. Anyone who goes to the Eagles know that. That's why the Eagles get big players coming to them a lot throughout the franchise history. Because they know what Philadelphia brings from a front office, from a fan base. Like, they know what the expectations are there. And that's why all ex-players love Philadelphia. Even players that have left Philly not even on the best grounds. Like T.O. famously says, Philly has the best fans. And the Philly fans let T.O. have it during that whole, crash and burn years ago. And yet he's still like, those are the best fans. And people are like shocked to hear that. So this whole take to me just makes zero sense. Like, where has Jalen Hurts once given the impression of this ego of that he needs to be the center of attention, that it's all about him, that he's going to question a coach as to why they're making changes? Like, that blows my mind. It blows my mind, honestly. I mean, that's so insulting, quite honestly. I mean, Josh Allen has had to change his game throughout the years with his revolving doors of OCs. Did we ever question if Josh Allen said, why do I have to change? Patrick Mahomes has literally changed his game. He has literally stopped throwing the ball down the field. Andy Reid had to be like, stop it, stop it, stop it. Did Patrick Mahomes take it as an insult? Like, it's just absurd to me. It's really absurd. And this idea that the Eagles were like, just like ready to move on from Jalen, I get it. If this coming season is a disaster and Jalen is terrible, right? I get it. Technically, you have those discussions. But who are you getting at quarterback? Because he said everyone's looking to upgrade at quarterback, or everyone's looking to upgrade at all positions, which again is valid point. That is a valid point. But let's play this tape forward. Let's say Jalen Hurts has an average year. Let's say Jalen Hurts plays the same that he did last season. They make it to the playoffs. They just get in. It's just not exactly what everyone anticipated, and they lose first round. Let's say that happens. Who are they getting at quarterback? Who's the upgrade at quarterback? They're going to move on from Jalen and go out and get Dak Prescott? Is that what they're going to do? Like what quarterback? They're gonna pull a flyer on Justin Fields? Right? Does anyone think that Justin Fields is better than Jalen Hurts? Because I don't. Jalen Hurts' first season was better than any season for Justin Fields, and he did not have A.J. Brown. He did not have, he had Sirianni calling bad plays. Like, so let's tap the brakes on that. So, like, where are we going? It's one thing if the Eagles somehow had a first, like a great pick, top 5 pick, top 3 pick because of a key trade somewhere along the lines. And then they were like, well, hey, right, like kind of like a similar thing that happened with the Chicago Bears, right? The Chicago Bears had the Caleb Williams pick, and it was because of the trade with Carolina. then you can make that argument. Then I could understand. And Caleb Williams is available, and Jalen Hurts has now had back-to-back bad seasons. Then I understand that question. But that's not going to be the Philadelphia Eagles situation. And if that's not their situation, who are they going to get? Sanders? What are we talking about here? So I just think that's nonsense. And also, Joe Burrow is very injury prone, and a lot of people are discussing now, what do you do with Joe Burrow? I'm a fan of Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow can't stay healthy. So this idea that Joe Burrow is untouchable is absurd because Joe Burrow is not playing football. The dude can't finish out a season. He is an elite quarterback, an unbelievable quarterback. So I've made many videos about how I think Joe Burrow is elite. And of course, Josh Allen is elite, and obviously Patrick Mahomes is elite. But this idea that you automatically assume that Joe Burrow is untouchable when the guy can't stay healthy, I don't know about that. I wouldn't be so sure to say that either. Again, I think the perfect thought experiment is, if you could draft Caleb Williams, what would you do based off of who your quarterback is? If Tampa Bay Buccaneers had Baker Mayfield, do they draft Caleb? Yeah, I believe they do. So I just don't understand how he could say that. Does Jalen? The question was, does Jalen Hurts feel minimized by Eagles' offensive changes? And he's saying yes. He goes, I don't mean to overreact or try to read minds too much, but yeah. And he's probably wondering why should I have to make these changes? Because he's an athlete. He's not questioning that. Every player makes changes season to season, year to year. Jalen Hurts hasn't won 3 MVPs and 3 Super Bowls. He knows that he's still learning and growing as a player. He knows his game is still going to adapt. That's just, oh God, such an absurd take to me. Seriously, just straight up nonsense. Absolute, pure nonsense to me. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys think about this? Do you think Jalen Hurts feels minimized by the Eagles' offensive changes? And do you think that the Eagles should move on from Jalen if he has a similar year to the one that he had last year? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.